What is happening, guys? Martin is back again. You know where we are, so let's get into it now, guys. With the channel, and obviously everyone's in lockdown. You can see even now putting some weight in lockdown. It's been crazy. But ultimately, guys, with the channel, again, the aim is to try and save some money out there. But also, saving money, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be cheap. I'm not really a sneaker guy myself. I'm not really into crepes in that way. But I just wanted to just give you an idea of my mindset on this stuff. So ultimately, guys, I see a lot of people talking about buying cheap fragrances and about cheap fragrances all the time. And obviously my channel has been primarily about cheap fragrances. But one thing I want to say, guys, I mentioned about cheap fragrances and I also want to mention it now when it comes to other things. I still believe if you buy cheap, you buy twice. So don't get me wrong. Some fragrances, say for instance, like this one, Office for Men, obviously it's going to cost a lot more if you want to go and get that. That's a particular type of individual who's going to buy that fragrance. I don't think it's a mainstream fragrance. You're not seeing it in the high streets just yet. It probably will be at some point. But for the man in the street, maybe he's going to go for something like this. Who knows, Mont Blanc Explorer. Not bad at all, good fragrance, it is what it is. But guys, when it comes to other aspects, do you also buy cheap when it comes to fragrances, or sorry, when it comes to clothes or trainers, or what do you value? And one thing I want to just quickly do a review on, I've not actually touched on anything to do with trainers, but I'm just going to do a quick review on this one because these are a pair of sneakers that I've had for I don't know how many years now. But ultimately, you can see there's even dust on the box. This is from Gucci, and these are the Corda Web Low white leather men's 9.5, and this is bought from Selfridges, and this came to 325 pounds. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this. I still wear these trainers even now, guys, and I just want to just highlight a point to you. So this is the receipt. For those that know about Selfridges in the UK, this is the receipt, guys. I kept the box. I kept it looking clean and fresh. You can see even the bag is still in there, so we're not faking around. You still got the original laces. We still got, obviously, the Gucci bag for those that want to wear it. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of some of these designer houses, but I still wanted to make sure that I got this pair of Gucci's, which I really enjoy. I'm just looking at the date and when this was purchased. This was purchased on, let's have a quick look if we can see it, £325. And the date was on the 30th of the 6th, 2015. 30th of the 6th, 2015. So what, nearly 5 years ago, 4 and a bit years ago. And here they are, guys. I've not necessarily cleaned them properly. You can see how they're looking now. I do need to clean them. And as I say, these are sort of, you know, with the classic sort of web look there that we've got going on with the, you know, the white, you know, the white shoe, and then obviously we got the signature mark there with the red in the middle and also the green on each side. For me, guys, I mean, just look at the inner part, the sole. For me, shoes are very important, and don't get me wrong, I'm not necessarily trying to advocate people go and spend £300 or so on trainers now, and now's not necessarily the time. I'm just looking at now, obviously, on say flannels in the UK. These trainers, the back has changed slightly. They've tried to modify it slightly. You can get ones with a bit of a, there's like a sort of emblem on there of a honeybee, but they're looking at like £430. Now, that's a lot of money in my opinion. But bear in mind, I'm talking 5 years ago, so I paid £325. So with inflation and everything else like that, maybe you're sort of paying for the same thing. But ultimately, guys, I just want to say, these trainers, you look at the bottom, you can see. And again, look at the top. They just need cleaning. But for me, they're going to last. They're going to last. They're doing the job. And I think one thing that makes it so important to me, guys, when you look at actually, like, you can see how that's been kept, just the inner sole. You can see it on there, guys, and equally on there. And again, I'm not necessarily someone who's going to necessarily do reviews of trainers, but ultimately, guys, these have, in my opinion, they've kept the value. I don't necessarily intend to go and buy a new pair at all. I'm just going to get these cleaned, or I'm going to clean them at some point. There's nothing wrong with them. I paid a lot of money for them, in my opinion, at the time. £325, 2015 is a lot of money, but ultimately, I don't feel I need to go and buy other trainers. Now, don't get me wrong, I do have other trainers. I don't wear necessarily these are for everything, but I've worn them when I've gone to holidays. I've been to Spain, been wearing these. I've been to Germany, been wearing these. You know, I've been to Poland wearing these. You know, these to me are a classic set of trainers. I personally enjoy and love Nike Cortez trainers. That particularly to me reminds me of Going Back to the Future. It's one of the classic type of fragrances, classic type of trainers for me, and it does its job. So I do like to have a pair of white trainers. But ultimately, the purpose of this video, guys, yes, Gucci is expensive and I've paid what I paid for it. Not everybody would agree with that. You know, for some people, it could be cars. Some people, it could be more to do with investments and things of that nature. Yes, by all means, investments, we can have a chat about that as well. That's not a problem. But in respect of buying these sort of consumer items, guys, I'm going to say it again. Sometimes if you buy cheap, you buy it twice. If you can afford to buy Creed Aventus, don't get me wrong, £260 in my opinion, it's not, if you can afford to do it, you're going to do it. If you can't afford to do it, you're not going to do it. But ultimately, don't necessarily put yourself in a situation of feeling like you need to buy clones or buy the cheapy stuff, and then subsequently you're still sort of yearning and still wanting to have that Creed Aventus, knowing that what you're wearing isn't necessarily Creed. So I would say, guys, if you can do it, be smart about it, put the money to the side, take your time if you need to do it, save up to get what you need to get. If it's really that important to you, you'll do it. Now, again, I'm not trying to say to people to get involved in finance and all those different things. If you can pay for the things outright, go and pay for it outright. If you want to do finance, that's your decision. Personally, I'm not going to give you that advice. But ultimately, guys, again, these trainers have been around since 2004. I think they're my 2015. They're my longest set of trainers. Again, and what I enjoy so much about it is that they're so sturdy. They're so sturdy. I can wear these and feel comfortable in it. Again, the heel's not broken down. You can see, yeah, there's got some dirt on it. They've been worn, but ultimately they've done their job. And I think the quality is there. The quality is there. This is a premium type of training for me. Some people spend a lot more, £500-600. That's entirely their decision. But for me, ultimately, these have done the job. 5 years on nearly. So it's lasted the test of time. So when it comes to clothes as well, guys, don't be afraid to buy Ralph Lauren and different things like that. Quality is what quality is. Now, don't get me wrong, different perspectives of what quality could be, but ultimately, guys, it's down to you to decide on that, what you're comfortable to do in your circumstances. But these, so long they've lasted me, they've done the job. They only need to be clean, and for me, they're fantastic. I don't need to buy any other pair of trainers at this particular level. I do have my Cortez as well, and I can do a review of those ones. But unfortunately, Cortez haven't lasted me as long as these have lasted. Different type of trainer, different ball game, but it is what it is, guys. If you need to go and get some quality, do it the right way. Spend the money accordingly when you can afford to do it. Don't put yourself in debt to buy these things. Spend the money when you can afford to do it, and make sure that you put yourself in a situation, hopefully in your personal life, that you can afford to have a little bit of enjoyment as well. So that's just a quick video on this, guys. Again, I'm going to talk about the fragrances as normal, but equally just touching on the trainers. Buy cheap, buy twice. Spend the money if you need to spend it, guys, but also be cautious moving forward in respect of how you want to spend your money. But equally, don't feel like you can't enjoy yourself when the time is right, guys. So thank you very much. Not fragrances in this particular video, but it is what it is in respect of the trainers, and these have done the job. Ciao.